नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या संप्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ओम शांति शांति शांति। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Distinguished chair, as well as distinguished listeners and participants. As just now it was mentioned, the problem to India is unique, quite dissimilar not only to Trinidad but other countries. But I guess we have unique problem because we have tradition of thousands of years over here. And since the things are new over there, you are confronted with the less problems. Now let's look at the basic problem that we have regarding our temples. I have to move myself in the slides or somebody is there? No, I'll take care. This is the one. Now, as it was mentioned in the earlier by the chair that so many temples are controlled by the government, and let us understand the problem. To understand the problem, we need to understand what the Hinduism is. Nowadays, there is a popular feeling, even our Supreme Court has said that Hinduism is a way of life, which is not true. Hinduism is a vision of life. Hinduism is a vision of truth. Truth about the God, truth about the self, and the truth about the creation. Very famous verse, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. Wise man sees the whole creation as nothing but the expression of the God. So also there are verses in Gita, Manmana, Bhavamat Bhakta, etc., etc. And till one gains this vision, our rishis have told us, or culturally we have gained this wisdom that we should have an attitude of the wisdom. So attitudinally we look upon everything that belongs to the Lord. That being a case, even the famous example of Bharata and Rama we have in history. Lord Bharat, when Bharatji came back, he ruled the kingdom and placed Rama's Paduka on the kingdom, implying everything belongs to the Lord, I am just a servant. You are the chairman, I am just the managing director in a modern jargon. Even that tradition is still there even in Jagannath Puri. When there is a Rath Yatra, the king of Puri himself brooms the road, implying that, oh Lord, you are the master, I am the servant. And that being the case, we have such a huge temples in south of India which were traditionally built. I am not talking of the modern temples which are on the roadside or the end of the street, implying whatever king had, the Lord being the ultimate owner should have more than the king. Kings had the elephants, so the temple had the elephants. Kings had those cooks, the temple had a separate cooks. King had those Vajindravalas, those used to play music in the early morning, so they were special singers for the Vajindravalas for the Lord. And kings had one to do Shrungara, so therefore there were a team of people who will just do Chandanam and do Shrungara of the Lord. Thus Lord was looked upon as ultimate king. Even the king right in Puri, I can quote in south of India, king of Trivandrum, Thiruvananthapuram his ancestors used to report to the Lord every day what we did, oh Lord, this is your kingdom. And our Mahabharata and Vedas all mention that king is a servant. This is Vedic vision. And therefore, not only the kings, but the rich people built the temple. And therefore, we have this tradition, Nariktapani Rabhivadayet. One should not go to empty-handed to the king or to the temple or to the teacher. Therefore, the common man, whoever went to temple, they always offered something, carrying from the home. And if not available, we have new form in a modern form in terms of shops are available, you buy from it and then you offer it to the Lord. So therefore, the rich kings and the rich built the temple, they left the wealth and they left the huge amount of land in the name of the temple deity. Because for the temple maintenance, the kings gave away certain pieces of the land, and all these were there in the name of the temple deity. But the most unfortunate thing is, for the greatness of our country is, the Lord, the temple Lord, in the eyes of the Lord, is minor. Okay, that's the beauty of it. We are major with him. And therefore, in course of the time, some feud took place between the priests or the trustees or the local people. State government way back in 1840s took over one or two temples when the Britishers took over. That time few temples, when we got independence, few temples were taken over by the Britishers that were handed down to our state. But later on, each and every state government formulated a law, either a common law, each state has a common law, as well as a specific law to take over a specific temple. And the famous examples are the TTD temple. There is a special law passed in the Andhra Assembly. And more recently, the Sai Baba temple, recently they took over Maharashtra government just 3 years ago. They had a special law and they took over this temple. Now, understand, these, I'm sorry, there is no pointer. Now, please understand, the income from these temples is credited to government treasury general account. This is the snag. In the treasury, all money goes, received from VAT account or income tax or other tax, and every money is dumped together. And the temple trust is, since it is taken over by the government, either it is headed by government officials or office party workers, and these people are not necessarily Hindu. A shocking, classic example is, once upon a time, the Siddhivinayaka temple was headed by none other than Antule, our minority minister, the one chief minister who was removed in a scam. And many places, the temple trust are headed by ex-officio district collector. That person may not be Hindu, but then since he is ex-officio, he hates. This is the problem. Now look at the consequences of this. What happens? That there are sixfold destructions that is taking place because of the government takeover of the temple. First, the temple wealth, hundi, ornaments, lands, etc. are looted, literally looted. Second, the rites, rituals and the practice are tampered with, they are played with and changed. Third, temple architect is destroyed. Fourth, government and in some of the temples, I will show you the pictures, government is using the temple premises to run their own departments. So it is no more a sanctious, pious place. It is a place where governed babus exchange bribe over there. So corrupt places. And fifth, inscriptions on the temple are the living records of our ancient time and history. They are also tampered with. They are also being destroyed. And lastly, the knowledge, art and the culture, which was temples were supposed to be the center for propagating and protecting the knowledge, art and culture. They are no more that, and that also stands destroyed. Let us look at the problem and the consequences one by one. Now, just I'll give you example of one state of Tamil Nadu. The state of Tamil Nadu government has 39,491 temples. Excuse me, the chair just now said in Trinidad government supports us. But I guess total Hindu population may not be equal to the number of temples that are there in India in Trinidad, okay? So our problem is quite different. 39,000 temples, and they have agricultural land of 478,462 acres, buildings of 22,600 buildings owned by the temple, state land 33,627 sites are there, and 3 crore square yard land. And annual revenue as of now is of this rented property is 50 crores per year, which according to rough estimate should be more than 7,000 crores per year. Even simple Tirupati Balaji temple gives away. You think that you are giving this for Raj Bhoga to the temple, you are giving for Lakshmi ji to the temple, but ultimately after all the expenses no doubt taken over by the state, since it's taken over by the states, expenses in terms of salary and light and maintenance are meant by the state government, but more than that, over and above the expenses, state government earns 1200 crores per annum. Cash, 1,200 crores. You can look into the website. And the equal amount of gold and jewelry also goes to state exchequer. As I told you, the snag is this. They don't specify that this income is the temple income. Whereas when we run the trust, in the trust somebody donates you for hospital, they tell you this is for hospital. Somebody gives you money for education, this is for education. Somebody gives you money for some health building, it is for building. But in government account there is nothing. It is not mentioned that this is Hindu money and therefore they can use any money anywhere. As I mentioned, Siddhivinayak temple chairman has given donation of 5 lakhs in 70s to a Christian missionary school. And the politician, when they hate those temples, they in the name of Seva, they use the money in their own constituency and therefore create a vote bank at our cost. So the money given to temple is not used for Hindu cause. Not only that, another Tamil Nadu scenario, 92% of the land lease revenue is uncollected. And most of the lands are leased to either their politicians or people connected to party. And most shocking news is, some of the lands in Tamil Nadu of the temple is leased to Christian missionaries. And that to a throwaway price. Recently, Jayalalitha gave away some land at 30,000 rupees per annum, whereas the market price for the lease should be 6 crores per annum. Because they are doing social service. Likewise, 91% of the sites of the rent remains uncollected. 78% of the buildings' rents are uncollected. Properties transferred to individual identified as 8,540 acres in Tamil Nadu. Temple property has been given away to somebody, some factory or some politicians. Now, this temple, look at this. It has not come, site, print. Coming, look at that. They just broke the whole temple to build something. And therefore, this architecture is destroyed. As I mentioned earlier, inscriptions were removed, that also got destroyed. And Sri Kalahasti temple, which Panch Mahabhuta, we have Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jala, Prithvi, etc. That Panch Mahabhut Kalahasti temple remains like this for a number of years after this sometimes, and it doesn't get repaired. Money is lost there with the government. And this art and culture, knowledge in art and culture also is not attended, which is there in our temples. That being case, look at this government office. I am short of the time, so I am going, brushing the teeth quickly. She showed me there is no minute left for me. And look at these office papers. This is how the government is running our places. And to solve this, Acharya Sabha has filed a case in the Supreme Court. For 1.5 years, we have put a writ petition. But unfortunately, none of the states is replying. But heartening news is, we fought the case of this Chidambaram temple, and we have won the case, and the judgment is so clear. We had 3 legal conferences in Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore. We had invited constitutional experts. All of them opined that government can never hold the temple. And our argument, Chidambaram case also, court has opined that you cannot hold. We have given 2 arguments to the Supreme Court. You want to take over temple and manage temple, declare India as a Hindu state. You cannot remain a secular state. If you are managing the temple. And if you are a secular state, you give away the thing. And second message that with which we are fighting, I tell you, roughly, we are giving to different state governments, beginning from Gujarat to Assam and from Kerala to Kashmir, not less than 1.50 lakh crores of rupees. Goes to different state governments through different temples. Our slogan is, Hindu money for Hindu cause. That is the bottom line. And I can assure you, if we get this management of temple and Hindu money with us, Christians will be running to save their community, not we. We will convert them back. Thank you very much. I'm short of the time, so I'm finishing. Taking for 1 minute extra. Thanks.